All right, everybody, time for us to get started. I'm loving that I'm seeing a lot of connections and conversations happening here, but I need to draw your attention into the room because we're about to start the session on supporting agritourism development. And we have our in-person presenter here, Dr. Valeria Klitsounova of the Belarusian Association Country Escape.
Hello, everybody. For me, it's a big honor, a great honor to be in Vermont on such a great conference. I'm from Belarus, as you can see. Have you ever heard this word, Belarus?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess from Belarus.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know that farmers know the name because they have a tractor, Belarus, but it's not only, it's also my country. So I hope this work out. A little bit about me, because I'm wearing a few hats. One of them is that I'm leader of and founder of the association, which exists 20 years. Also, I'm associate professor, and I used to work in creation of Museum of Rural Culture and many other things. I've been there in George Mason University as a Fulbright scholar. That's how I met Sus Local, and before I met Todd Coleman. These people came to my country as the American speakers, so we try to base our activity on international experience. I consider the mother of rural tourism of Belarus because 20 years ago I started this association. Now we go through turbulent time because in our country all non-governmental organizations are liquidating, so my is not exception, most 700. So we will change our organization and we are looking for other form on working. This is just in case you do not know where is Belarus. It's Eastern European country. We bordering with Poland, Ukraine, Russia, Lithuania, Latvia. We are a country of rivers and lakes, a lot of forests. And this is just to explain that when we develop rural tourism, it's different from US because we came from socialism or communism past. Changes started only 30 years ago, and we designed this book to go together with Professor Sus Local. We sort of gave voices to researchers from East European country. It's not only Anglo-Saxon approach, but also there. And we found out that there are many ways of developing tourism, or rural tourism after collapsing socialism. It could be alliance with EU, and this country went to these values, European and to capitalism very quickly. It could be us, like Belarus, Russia. We depend on Russia a lot, and we are developing our ways slowly, not that we are still communism, socialistic. We have, of course, different kind of life, but you should remember that ideologically it can't change during one day, because we had a generation who was born in that time. They really believed in all of these values, and suddenly everything was changed. These people, this really suffered. And there are countries from the south who are oriented on China and other Islamic country. So what we learned from Europe, because we were maybe the last country, Russia behind us, okay. We were one of the last country who started develop rural tourism. And we look on the European countries, and we traveled and participated in different conferences, and the lesson we learned, liberal legislation, this can change completely attitude people and start development. Second, national association is necessary to unite people who are spread around the country and absolutely weak and separated. Then your regulation on a national level should be, and rural tourism is oriented on local market. Normally it is tourists from Belarus. Most of them, not only. If people are the core issue in rural tourism, we are traveling not from house to house, but from person to person. That's why we try to invest a lot in the people. This is our association and some, let's say, statistic about our activity. We did many things, nice projects, and for example, Greenway is a concept we took from US. Really great job. And this is probably, it's relevant to all countries because rural tourism is a wonderful tool for economic development, for cultural development, probably all of these happening in different countries. And this is what we managed for 20 years. First, we could lobby fantastic liberal law. It took 4 years for us. It was very complicated political activity, but our people who develop rural tourism, they should live, of course, in a village because we support them. This category, they are not paying any tax, because it was question of survival for them. Most of them lost their job and nobody knows what to do. So they can, they pay a minimum tax or fixed price for some, now, okay, every month, but it's nothing. Then can have till 10 rooms. They can cook and provide meals. They can provide like a guide to be organized tour for their tourists, and they can do many things which actually are forbidden, which require from you to be a company. They can do it by themselves, and they do it fantastically good. So we united them and created a real team. It was one of our really serious achievements because we try not to create any direct competition between people because everything is good. If you have tiny little facility, many people will choose you or rather than you have like a palace. It depends. Everybody can find consumer for their services. This is also about financing. We managed to persuade a bank to give our people loans. It was not too much, up to $20,000, but in that time, 20 or 15 years ago, it was a big money. It was enough. Someone could make toilets, someone could construct sauna or buy car or something. So we develop standards based on European. This is question about quality, and then we promoted this kind of tourism, this kind of holiday in Belarus, because when we just started, nobody could understand what are you going to show in the village. Come on, there is nothing. Really, it's not. First, Italy, we have a bad climate. It could be rainy like in UK, and we do not have too much to show in a village because we are a country, many wars pass through us, churches develop, palaces develop, mansions destroyed, not too much to show because Soviet times they still destroyed churches and beautiful mansions, but some times ago, in the beginning of last century, we have 3,000 estates in Belarus. It was a country of estates. It was not like all culture concentrated in a capital in Minsk. No, estates plus small towns, we call it mestechka, where a lot of Jewish population. That's why I met people who told, oh, Minsk, my parents are or grandparents came from Belarus, and they were also very important in cultural and economic development. And that is how it's happened. And now we are developing, and it was unbelievably successful project. I think it was the best economical and cultural project in my country, because we created and in the beginning of last century, there were 3,000 estates. And in a certain way, I remember this number, and now we have more than 3,000 estates. They are different size and etc. But anyway, it is something. This is statistic. When we started, I even didn't dream that it could happen like that. But we have support from people. They like the project, and now everybody love it, and they are not what to do in a village. They know that it's a nice project and now nice ways to spend time. And this is amount of tourists, even in pandemic time, 2002. Yes, we have a certain drop, but then it was very nice, because not too much where our people could spend their holiday in a village. This is 3 stage we can see in the process of development. First, when we started, we didn't have any infrastructure. There were no place where people can spend night. But if you are not staying for night, you are not leaving money in a region. So we did it. Then tourism product. Okay, we do not have too much like palaces or churches, but we have people who have provide interesting component in tourism product. And now creativity, experience, innovation. This is what we pay attention, because our people creative. Okay, they don't have money, they're not going to have money in the nearest future, but they can use their knowledge, talent to create experience. And this was National Geographic Travel Award in Russia. And they consider Belarus country of rural tourism or agrotourism. The same happened in not Italy, which is, of course, it's country of agritourism, but for Russian, I understand that it's Russian perception, but it's 140 million people. And this is what's going to happen in 2020. World Tourism Organization wanted and planning to organize this international forum in our country, which was a great pleasure for us, but it's never happened. And this is some trends I see in rural tourism development in Belarus. First, creativity, innovation. Our people create experience. This is what we understand is the most in demand, creativity and innovation. This is just a little bit of from academic view, but I believe that many would like to know about this model. If you want to create a great experience, this is the most great demand in the world, you should think about it. See, entertainment, education, aesthetic, and escapism. This is component which should be in a project. The first, entertainment, because people are spending their free time. They need entertainment. It can't be boring. Education also. Then it's important to involve all 5 senses. It's very good. Our people normally start visit if someone come to their estate from small welcome drink or taste. Because when you eat, this is endorphins and serotonin, you are becoming happy and you remember that. So, and of course, involve them in activity, yeah? We do not have too much time to explain it, but it's important. Ecological safety, solar energy, organic, everything. Now it's also in great demand in our part of the world. Youth participation, I'm lucky that I'm worked for the university, and we have a brilliant students. Actually, it's happening on International Tourism Department of the Belarusian State University, prestigious, very bright people. Soon know them. She worked with some of them. I did research. They involved, and we have a specialization about agro and ecotourism. So we involve them in the project, we even organize a branch of this department on our association, and it was a lot of project and win. Accessibility tourism. Now I've been with the Sue on the seminar or session about diversity. This is one of issue. We did, I think, fantastic project, and we did for them fantastic products, because for people, they should know, they should experience, they should be happy. Also, we develop a trail accessible for many people, and organize festival, because these people should be involved. It's accessibility, inclusion means that we should do everything together. You are a different society. In our country, you won't see disabled people on the street. It's usual, but it doesn't matter that we don't have them, they are at home. So people don't have any experience to communicate with people with disability. When we started this project, it was very hard for us to communicate with them. And my position is that this is the most serious barrier. Technically, we can do accessible environment, but to treat them like an equal, it's hard. But in a month of working together, so you can see only human, not disability. Does work? Something happened? Gastronomy. I know everybody understands that this is one of very serious component of tourism product, and our people know a lot of traditional stuff, and they produce organic food, which is fantastic. Also, we develop cluster greenways, startup schools, different kind of online trainings. This is our cluster. Clusters is mean great when you put together different component of tourism products on one territory and under one brand. Our people can do it quite good because they communicate with the people who knows and trust. All of them are more or less friends and know each other. So, and this is just some example how some region did it. This is different brand of different farmstead, but in general, this is another cluster. This is one more cluster, and they have different specialization, but it's always interesting. Then thematic festivals, which can people work together and promote their territory. Cooperation with tour operator, we did it quite intensively. I'm in tourism for long, and I know, of course, all tour operator in my country. We are small, yeah, it's not US. So it's sometimes easier to work. And they now include visit to farmstead in all of their tours. This is with bread creation program from one farmstead. Rural tourism in COVID, we survived. Lots of tourism company collapsed, restaurants were closed, but we survived because our people are very flexible and it's have facility. Few people can spend time on farmstead. If you want, you couldn't be even stayed for long individual. Now we're developing something like camps, summer camps for kids there. We have a lot of musicians, talented people. They can organize concert, and you see the distance is quite waiting outside. So at least now it's a little bit not so much concern, but people understand that this is one of the best way to organize birthdays, wedding. Products, they can sell it through their farms or their homestead or through their neighbors. And this is educational tours, which is just started develop quite recently. That's why your experience we like. This is just last slides to show you that we are country of 4 seasons. And this is what you can make and even jumping after sauna in winter. And this is interesting tradition to celebrate Christmas, Kalada. It's not a Maslenitsa Russian, it's different. So we think this could be one of specialization. One, it was in a CNN and CNN Go website. And one tiny little village show what they can do, and they were only second or third position in the world. Boston, New York was behind. After that, our people started understand maybe there is something interesting in this. This is different kind. National parks we have, activities, and also we have lots of birds and animals. And actually, we came to a situation when Agro and Ecotourism consider like our brand, because this is something unique. We can't compete with our, let's say, palaces, mansions with Europe, because there are too much in France, Italy, Spain, etc. But this is something special, which could be our specialization. Thank you very much for your attention. Maybe I took too much time, but about no. So if you have questions, happy to answer. Or write me, you see my email. How?
If you have questions, just come up and use this microphone.
Good.
And just a quick announcement, we haven't been able to connect with the presenters for the South African case studies. So we'll take questions now, and then we'll move straight to the last session from Italy.
How do you exactly differentiate rural tourism from agritourism? Or is it rural tourism just like to social tourism?
You see, we don't think this issue in our country, we don't take it as very serious, yeah? Because it's mainly for academics to argue what is agrotourism, what is rural tourism, what is community-based tourism, etc. Our task or goal as association to develop rural community, rural territory. And that's why this cluster system, I think, is very good, because I think rural tourism, it's craftsmen. Rural tourism, it's intangible heritage. Rural tourism is stories which people say. Of course, it is culinary. It's all kind of services which could be provided by our local people, because they have a rich heritage. And if I go to village, yes, I can visit and see farm, and if they can show me in interesting way how they make cheese, how they grow potato or berries or apple tree orchards, but we do not have such developed farming like in US. It will come, and I try to stimulate people from the village who has, for example, some 15 hectares, it's a lot of land, of orchard. Do a festival of cider, fresh cider, make a jam, invite people, they will buy anything. We'll see it in Israel when people first show us all the trees, then show us how it used to be done. Then we go to the whole like that room, they show us a movie about their family and tradition. Then we go to the shop and they are buying, yeah. But that's why I think that anything which could be interesting for tourists in rural area, this is rural tourism. If we take a law, yeah, it's a slightly different definition. It is, of course, because they have a lot of privileges. But most of, okay, we can have a craftsman, it's another story, but they have also very loyal law. Because in our country, it's hard to survive in a village. Nobody wants people leave village and move to the city. That's why they have a support from government. So that's why I developed rural tourism, that tourism which is taken on the territory, rural territory, but it should be connected with some tradition, production, craftsman or something, yeah? Something, but now you see a lot of retreat, yogas coming, wellness coming to rural areas. There's so many interesting with summer camp also in rural areas. So I think the territory is number one. The second is it should be traditionally enterprises or something, production and culture. We have incredible, intangible culture where people since still know how to weave and how to embroider, how to cook, how to do things. A lot of tradition rights, yeah, they still exist. It exists for hundreds and hundreds years because we used to live on this land. That's it, and still are.
So you had mentioned the manor houses. Are there opportunities for lodging experiences combined with the agritourism experiences?
Yeah. This is what we develop because we think that it will be a much more diverse product for tourism. If I come, okay, I can have nice accommodation, nice meals, yes, they can provide, but I have something to do. And if they show me their animals, if they show me how they grow something, if they teach me to make a jam or bread. This is in great demand to produce home made bread now. So they go to teach, or for example, herbs. Our people knows herbs and mushrooms very well, and they can tell you about the herbs which is very health giving to make a tea, or natural cosmetic. It's a new trend. They go, locals and biologists tell them and host accommodate them. So yes, combined. The more we combine together, the more diverse and attractive product it will be. No question, but you can always write me, and I think someone want to tell you their story, no? He's a sure. You are not connected.
Those are not questions. So
Maybe there are comments?
are there any more questions? Thank you. So my apologies about the second presentation. We didn't hear from them, unfortunately. So we are going to go straight to the third presentation, which is by a team from the University of Teramo in Italy. Emilio Chiodo, Rita Salvatore, and Andrea Fantini will be telling us about developing agritourism in Italy, new trends and farmers' needs.
Good afternoon. My name Good afternoon. My name is Emilio Chiodo. I am assistant professor at the University of Teramo in the Abruzzo region in Italy. Today, I'm going to present a research on agritourism in Italy, considering new trends and farmers' needs. The research is part of a broader research project that is ongoing in the framework of the IRENA network, International Research Network on Agritourism. If you are interested in this topic, there will be a roundtable next Thursday in the morning. The research in Italy has involved the members of 2 out of the 3 main agritourism associations in Italy, called Agritourist and Terra Nostra. The agritourism sector is important in Italy because it can be considered as an already mature industry, and therefore it could be useful to understand its role within the broader.
All right, so in the interim, while we're trying to boot this up, I'm going to ask Valeria a quick question, because I've been to Belarus twice, working with her organization,
What is the
and she
theoretical
created
framework of our
a
research?
museum
Is that
called the Duduki Museum, which
agritourism
is
could be
a combination of all
a particular
kind of cultural
form of
heritage
social innovation,
elements.
able to
And so maybe you can tell us
foster
about that, because I
development
think it's
and the
Yeah,
recomposition of the
generated a lot of
nature and
interest
the
in
human
rural
Yeah,
imagination.
with pleasure. After perestroika, many people who were involved in different activity, state activity, no private businesses at all. I just forgot to tell you, for example, in tourism, it was 3 state company, one in tourism for incoming, other for use Sputnik, and the third trade union. Nothing more. We never ever had private businesses. And after perestroika, my husband, he died unfortunately 14 years ago. He was journalist. He was very active man. Actually, he was Lithuanian, so you know he very dynamic. And he decided to create other business like printing house and took 200 of land. And somehow we came to conclusions that it would be good to create museum, because he has one of his uncle was pottery guy, another with Miller, the third one was blacksmith there. So when we decided that we do not have any place where we can show this technology, and we travel abroad, already they let us go abroad, I mean us Belarusians, and we visited a live museum like in Netherlands, and even my American friends always told me, oh, this is our Williamsburg. Of course, I went to Williamsburg to see how it was organized. Finally, it is we constructed windmill, we did stable, we have cheese unit production, we have something with bees, we have wood carving unit. So all embroidery, weaving, all what rural people did in all time, we demonstrated. And this was a place where, before revolution, one musician used to live and combine his music violinist Mikhail Ilsky, and we started every year to organize concert. So it was absolutely unusual new things.
Good
We
afternoon. My
were
name is Emilio Chiodo.
we tried
I
to
am
prove
assistant
that this is our
professor
root,
at the University
and
of
this
Teramo
is the
in the Abruzzo
territory
region in Italy.
when all politicians, different kind of, could have a peace, and we even gave them the Dudki citizenship. We forced to sell it, of course, and nobody could let us make money. We produce different kinds of shares, even valuable paper, even first visas of Belarus, our company printed, but it couldn't last long. And of course, government was going to take it away, but I'm still has house in the Dudki and good relationship with new owners. And it's the most interesting attraction now in Belarus. So I don't know if you have Museum of Rural Culture in US, probably you have in different state, different unit, but it was really something. Sue also visited its UK, and of course culinary part. There are many things, and now we do a lot of events there. Every weekend something is happening. So this is what I wanted to tell. Are they ready to speak?
Today,
No?
I'm going to present a research on agritourism in Italy, considering new trends
Technology not
and
easy.
farmers' needs. The research is part of a broader research project that is
So if you're
ongoing
in Belarus,
in the
please
framework
visit
of the IRENA network, Internet.
dudutki.com.
So we'll ask another question. Most of the population in Belarus lives in Minsk, correct?
A lot.
A lot.
No,
And
not
so,
most. We have 9 million. 2 million lives in Minsk. Then we have 5 more major cities.
so how do these rural
Network
communities
on agritourism.
promote their
If you are
destination
interested in this
and get those
topic, there will
domestic
be a
travelers to
roundtable
the?
Yeah.
next
Well,
Thursday
So
in the morning.
for these 20 years,
The
many
research in
things
Italy has
happened.
involved
And
the
some of them
members
have
two
a
out of the
regional
three main
association,
agritourism
regional
associations in
organization,
Italy,
fund,
called
etc.,
Agritourism
non-governmental,
and
who
Terra
united
Nostra.
people and
The agritourism
promote them.
sector
We
is
helped
important
a
in
lot
Italy
because
it
we
can be
developed this
considered
cluster
as an already
system,
mature
which
industry,
unite
and
people
therefore
who
it could be
making
used
business,
to understand
local
its
government,
role
local
within the
communities.
broader
Everybody
rural
can get
development
something from
process,
tourism
role in
development.
fostering
And
social
we
innovation
develop
and cohesion.
greenways system, at least 3 or
What is the
5
theoretical
greenways.
framework of our
This is
research?
American model,
Is
and
that
people who lives along
agritourism
these
could be
greenways
considered
will communicate
a particular form of social
in
innovation,
that in this
able to
hard
foster
economic
rural
time,
development
everybody
and
understands that if
recomposing the
they can do
nature and the
something
human
together,
dimension
they are more efficient.
within the elements of the
It is
territorial
developing,
cohesion.
yeah. I don't
So
mean
the
that we are in
starting
a crisis
hypothesis
as our
is
part
that
of the world.
agritourism
In
is
2020,
moving
we
from
had a revolution,
the
and
way of
it's
integrating or
unfortunately
diversifying
nothing good
farmers'
happened.
income
Now in
towards
prison,
a more complex
2,200 people,
elements, a more
talented,
complex
etc.
set
Then we
of
have COVID,
motivations
as everybody.
that
Now we
include
have
not only economic
this
issues, but also
no, we are
social,
not in the war. We are
environmental,
on the side
and
of
cultural
Ukraine, but it's
ones,
happening on our
and
border. Nobody
also
knows where we
addressing a more comprehensive
next.
idea of community-based and sustainable
I'm maybe
tourism,
politically
so that
incorrect, but I am on
farmers
Ukrainian
are more
side, and I
committed with the
expect this
aim
thing
of
will win.
requalifying
It's
their
unbelievable they
territory
can win.
and
Yeah.
also to
So who
assert
is
their autonomy
this guy is talking?
within
He knows that
the market and developing their own life project for themselves and their families. Why social innovation? Because the idea is that the activity
So
of
thank you anyway. I
agritourism
hope that
companies could be able to increase the social.
Like, just open the video on the computer and then just share that window rather than trying to do this fancy thing. At least we can do that, right? Sure that video has sound. He said it was working. Yeah.
Framework on the of the three main agritourism associations in Italy. The agritourism sector is important in Italy because it can be considered as an already mature industry, and good afternoon, my name is Emilio Chiodo. I am assistant professor at the University of Teramo in the Abruzzo region in Italy. Today I am going to present a research on agritourism in Italy, considering new trends and farmers' needs. The research is part of a broader research project that is ongoing in the framework of the IRENA network, International Research Network on Agritourism. If you are interested in this topic, there will be a roundtable next Thursday in the morning. The research in Italy has involved the members of 2 out of the 3 main agritourism associations in Italy, called Agritourist and Terra Nostra. The agritourism sector is important in Italy because it can be considered as an already mature industry, and therefore it could be useful to understand its role within the broader rural development process, role in fostering social innovation and cohesion. What is the theoretical framework of our research? Is that agritourism could be considered a particular form of social innovation, able to foster rural development and recomposing the natural and the human dimensions within the elements of the territorial cohesion. So the starting hypothesis is that agritourism is moving from the way of integrating or diversifying farmers' incomes towards a more complex elements, a more complex set of motivations that include not only economic issues but also social, environmental, and cultural ones, and also addressing a more comprehensive idea of community-based and sustainable tourism, so that farmers are more committed with the aim of requalifying their territory and also to assert their autonomy within the market and developing their own life project for themselves and their families. Why social innovation? Because the idea is that the activity of agritourism companies could be able to increase the social capital of territories and also to develop relationships within this territory and create at the end a better society, able to modify the development path of the rural territories. So it's not only a personal issue, but it can become a societal issue. Why agritourism in Italy? It is an important phenomenon within the whole Italian tourist sector, because the number of agritourism in Italy increased. Of the hotel accommodation, non-hotel seen that were not interested in this growth in the past. So a very important phenomenon in our survey, because investigates next second. Future plans and also barriers and elements that can support the development of territorial level. At the end, in the survey, we try to assess the aspects and also the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the agritourism companies. 3,005. We see and the number of questions that could be used for survey is more than 400. Some aspects related to the offered services of the agritourism companies. We can see that the higher percentage is about accommodation, directly followed by on-farm direct sales, by restaurants, and with a lower percentage, the organization of events and entertainment, educational activities, off-farm direct sales, and also outdoor recreation. If we look in a more specific way to the direct selling, the most important is the farm, the selling on farm stand, farm store. But also other types of selling are practiced, as the pickup of your own, door-to-door selling, farmers market, and e-commerce. Looking in a more specific way to the offered services, we can see that educational farm, tastings, and student visit are the most offered educational experiences, and horseback riding, biking, and hiking are the most offered outdoor recreation activities. And food events, weddings, children's activities, and meetings are the most practiced entertainment or events. What about the satisfaction of the professional choice? Very surprising, let's see that 69% of agritourism operators are satisfied or very satisfied of their choice, and another 29% are quite a lot satisfied. So very high rate of satisfaction. And if we look to the future plans for the next 5 years, the majority of the respondents are willing to expand the type of experiences and products offered, to invest in more buildings or equipment, to hire more employees, to involve other family members in activity. Only a very small percentage is willing to do not change or to reduce or to close the tourism. So a very high level of satisfaction, and this very high level of satisfaction can be connected in some way to the motivations and goals and to the success factor that we investigated. And the main objectives, the main goals of the choice of opening in agritourism were the increasing of the farm revenue, the diversification of the farm offer, and of the market channels. But when we look, it is the blue line at the success of this strategy, we can see that the higher successes are reached, for example, in enjoying the social interaction of the public or in providing family employment. So this is similar to previous researches, emerge non-economic motivations at the base of the agritourism choice. So the satisfaction of the professional choice can be mainly due to the economic aspect and to the economic ones. What are the elements that help agritourism in their development? Also in this point, the highest rate in the scale from 1 to 5 is given by the family participation in tutorial skills, the access to the labor market, and all aspects of that are connected with competencies in skill in the development of the family. And when we, on the other side, look to the factors that can be important for supporting the activity, so to the limitation that actually they find, we can note that the answers are management and marketing of social media, participation in tourist circuits, and more the website management, the collaboration with tourism agencies, and to operation, to marketing. So it becomes evident the necessity of competencies, the management of the web, social media, and the connection with the tourism sector. We have also tried to analyze what is the perception of the contribution that agritourism companies can provide to their territory. Farmers perceive that they are important actors in preserving the landscape, in contrasting the abandonment of the territory, and in safeguarding traditions and local culture. And this is true also when the interviewed persons are new farmers or newcomers in agriculture. So when is proceeding to educate visitors, appreciating the territory and the rural lifestyle. What is in the end the economic impact of the pandemic? It has been perceived as high in profitability and also in a lot of services that were offered by the interviewed agritourism, education, entertainment, events, and the restaurants, and also outdoor recreation. In this case, the decrease in revenues has been much higher than the decrease in costs, so with a high impact on the profitability that on average decreased of about 30%. In response to this crisis, so which are the agencies that can help, that could help during the pandemic, and the most appreciated or considered ones are the producer organizations, followed by public regional organizations and tourism organizations. Of many of the possible agencies that can be involved, for example, university or not-for-profit organization, and also for paid private consultants, we found a lot of I don't know, so are not elements that are at the moment considered by our respondents. So just to conclude, to find some elements for the final considerations about this first analysis of our results, we found a considerable growth of the agritourism phenomenon in general, both in beds and in number of agritourism, and also a willingness to wide range of services in terms of multifunctionality and diversification, and also the perception of the agritourism as a means to further and enhance the knowledge about the territory and its local assets. What are the needs of our companies? We found a very high level of satisfaction of the professional choice, but it emerges a higher level of professionalization for the farmers, for their employees, and also the importance of the role of the family in supporting the growth of the activity. Some skills are still missing, mainly skills connected with the ICTs, with the internet, with the marketing, both in the entrepreneurs and in the labor force. And also it emerges the importance and the role that could play producers' organization in supporting agritourism companies. Of course, we need to do further research and analyze the result, and also to provide a qualitative, actor-centered research for a deeper analysis of farmers' choices and motivation. Thank you very much.